fully ready, but it's just gonna have to be what it is. Know what I'm saying? Refresh that. Are we good? Yeah, we good. We good. We good. Do a little link sharing. Little link sharetivity. Where's my phone? I done up there. It is. I done misplaced my phone once again. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen once again. Man's always making pasta, leaving the chat. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, my jaw is clicking something serious. I am in hell right now. Let's get some of these core rotations popping. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my back. I don't know if that pop was audible, but that's why I don't do these things, even though they're beneficial, because they end up messing up something else. Hold on, man. That hurt very badly. Share the link so we can get some friends in here, some homies, if you will, some compadres, some compatriots, some man, my jaw is clicking every word I'm saying. This is crazy. This may have not been the day. Share. No, I just want to copy the link, big dog. Do I hit share then? Yeah. Dog. I wish I could hear how this. I'm putting the mic right here. That sounds crazy. Oh! I think that might have been audible. I'm in hell right now. That is not what I'm looking for. I ain't got no picture. We just gonna rock out how we rocking. Come on, phone. This ain't the time to be 3 years old, bro. My phone is 3 years old. I got it in 2020. You know what I'm saying? Been through the COVID storm with your boy. What is this? Oh no. Story. Once again, riveting things going on. Story. Where's create mode at, dog? We streaming. Dog, my jaw is clicking crazy. I might have to not do this and go lay down. I haven't laid down in like 4 hours. I need to do that. We streaming. Baby. BBY. Next. Share that link. Not me holding my head like this is probably not good, but you know, it is what it is. Next. All right. How many people in here? One? Am I the only person in here? It's 3 people in here. That's 2 more than I expected to be in here. But we on the stream machine once again. Shenanigans time is upon us. Lakers versus Warriors. You already know what's going on. This mic look like it's peaking, but I can't fix it. I don't feel like fixing it. I forgot to get my wireless headphones and put them on. But it's real hoop hours upon us. Probably the best series we're going to see in this playoffs, unless, you know what I'm saying, the Lakers and Celtics get busy. Then it's just going to be Lakers and Celtics mystique around that. So we're going to have to call that the best series that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? We ain't worried about them Celtics playing the Sixers, even though I think James Harden was cooking last time I checked, but I might have been fooled by some Twitter lies. Somebody said he was like 5 for 5 for like 12 points or something. But once again, that could have been lies because people be lying on the internet if you didn't know that. I just looked at the camera for the first time like a real streamer's supposed to, because I've been looking at the camera feedback for like the past 4 streams, just making sure everything is right. But hold on, I'm checking something one more time on the greatest stream in the world. What? Dog, this clicking in my ears is really like annoying me. Physically, and just it's making sentences hard. I got a little bit of like my ears feel like they need to pop and everything. Like that's what happens when your neck is in disarray. your the pressure in your head and your ears gets a little thrown off, and it feels like you're on an airplane. And that's what I'm feeling like currently. Let's see. All of these links are not. These links ain't leaking. Oh, so they weren't lying. James Harden, no 7 for 10, 16 points. But enough about that. Lakers win the series, 4-2. Big ass whoopery afoot for nearly the entirety of that series, which is what I expected. I will never trust a team whose primary creator cannot shoot off the dribble reliably. That's just how I get down. Unless they're a bigger person like Giannis, they a good 6'8" or above. You know, a Luka Doncic. Even though he ain't like a terrible shooter, he ain't getting busy off the dribble either. That's kind of part of the problem they have as well. But Lakers win in rather convincing fashion in Game 6, led by the iciest man on the planet and the unibrowiest man on the planet. Two fellers with hair all in the middle of their nose area, just getting busy all over those Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks just hiding, you know what I'm saying, tail between the legs, gets no respect from me. Like, bro, you got to at least face the camera, bro. Like, what's going on? Like, your bar, you weren't getting bars off anyway when you was in front of the camera. You might as well go ahead and take them lumps, you know what I'm saying? Show everybody them braids that maybe he ain't want people to see his fit. That Game 6 fit was not it, brother. I don't know what the other fits look like. I just know Game 6 fit was looking crazy. He had the clavicle out and the quadriceps out. It was a whole ordeal. It wasn't looking great. Let me see. It's still only 2 people in here. But we don't need no people in here to talk about Lakers versus Warriors. So many things that can happen in this matchup. So many things to look forward to and talk about. I won't get to nearly all of them. I probably won't get to most of them if my back and my neck gonna keep feeling like this. First and foremost, I do think Let me stretch for this prediction. Lakers in 6 is the first thing I'm saying. I know people, I think like 8,000 people have predicted that the Warriors are going to win this series. A lot of people were surprised that they lost Game 6 at home. And they were like, oh, the Warriors, they look tired. They really showed their age and all this other stuff. Me personally, I didn't think about that when they lost Game 6 to the Kings. What I took from that game was, and we kind of saw it in Game 7, is they weren't like old or anything. Like, it's just hard to beat a team 4 times in a row, particularly a team that's beaten you twice already, right? So I thought people overreacted to what happened in Game 6. The way they lost was kind of wild because Sabonis didn't really play that much of a role and all this other stuff. And people were just prognosticating that the Beam team was about to make it happen, and I just wasn't seeing it. You know what I'm saying? The Warriors are still the Warriors. I'm going to still pick them in most series. I'm not picking them in this one for reasons we will talk about in a second. But I do think that they won their last series. They ain't winning this one. Lakers in 6, like I said. I just think I've been saying this for, 2 weeks now? I've been saying this pretty much since the trade deadline. The Lakers, I think they just have too much firepower on the top end, and they're going to give the Warriors a lot of problems in a multitude of ways. Not saying that the Warriors aren't going to give them problems, because they are, but I think that the scale of these problems are going to be a little different. I think the Warriors' problems are more sporadic problems as opposed to the Lakers' advantages being more of a consistent thing that the Warriors have to deal with over time, because of course you have to deal with the Warriors and their shooting ability and stuff like that, and things kind of cascading on you and things like that. You got to stay locked in mentally, and you have to kind of be in tune to the game plan at all times, and I do think that's going to be a factor. But then when you have your top 2 players, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, I don't think that the lapses are going to be as much of a problem. I think we're going to not have too many issues staying locked in, provided that the people that we play are people who are prone to staying locked in and things like that. Probably not a lot of Malik Beasley going on in this series, even though we might, be able to get away with him and his tendencies being a smaller player and stuff like that. Maybe little Troy Brown Jr. if he ain't shaking in his boots like he kind of was last series from a jumper standpoint, because we do need some versatility on the wing, some switchability when they start getting into their do-si-do actions and things of that nature. But I don't think that the threat of Steph and Clay always looms large, of course. But I do think that given that it's such a jump shot centric thing, that there are going to be moments where, like, I'm not going to say you can like rest or anything like that, but I don't think it's going to be this thing where it's prevalent all the time, as opposed to the sheer physicality and athleticism of the Lakers, which I think the Warriors are going to have to deal with on a possession basis for however long this series lasts. And that's before we get to the individual skills levels of like the four most important like offensive players that the Lakers have, who can all go off in their own rights and in different ways from different areas of the floor and just cause a lot of problems for these Warriors. The thing that people seem to be most interested in going into the series is like who's going to guard Steph, who's going to guard Clay, who's going to, what's Draymond going to be doing, who are you going to stick on him to kind of play free safety? You put AD on him so he can kind of get into other actions. People are wondering if Vandal is going to play a lot of minutes because like he might not necessarily be able to guard Steph, and then you kind of want Bron and Draymond on Looney and Bron and AD on Looney and Draymond. And so that's the question of who do you leave that person to guard. I think you do probably put him on Wiggins. A lot of people are saying, not a lot of people, but I've seen people saying that, oh, maybe we should put D'Lo on Wiggins. I'm not personally a fan of that. I do think that people are like kind of overestimating how like much a person like Clay is going to give D'Angelo Russell problems. I talked about this on this channel several times. One, he's shown that he's been a reliable defender, like as a chaser on the designated shooters per se of other teams. He hasn't really struggled with that this whole season. And two, if there's any archetype that D'Angelo Russell can guard in the NBA, it's a taller wing that can't really dribble that well, because he has the wingspan to kind of stay in front of him and things like that. And he can, if they're not particularly shifty, they're not going to give him as many problems because he's going to be in the right spots positionally and stuff like that. And Clay is not particularly physical, like going into the paint and like going into the post and stuff like that, as opposed to an Andrew Wiggins, who, despite his limited like ball handling, will still be forceful and get into the glass, and he can take D'Lo to the post some and stuff like that. So I think that if D'Lo should guard anybody, it should be Clay. Austin may guard Clay because he did a very good job on him in the regular season, but I'm seeing that people thinking that he might guard Steph. I think it's going to be a by committee thing, a by possession thing, because I do think that the Warriors are going to try to hunt a lot of cross matches, particularly depending on who AD is guarding. If he's guarded Draymond, they might try to, I don't know if they might switch to Looney being more of an initiator of the handoff actions and things like that. Because one thing about if AD is guarding Draymond, he's going to be probably a little closer to the actions that they're running on the perimeter, and he has a little more of a capability to like blow those things up. And people were talking about what kind of coverage are the Lakers going to play? Are they going to play a drop? How far is AD going to come up? Is they going to play at the level? Like all of these things that this series is just going to have to go through over time. And I don't know the answer to any of these things particularly. So why are we here? But I do think that sorry, I just saw my pick is kind of bent. It's kind of bent right here. You see that? You got the Kobe pinky going on right here. Let me see. I lost my train of thought. As soon as I saw that pick, I kind of lost my train of thought. So the things that we have to worry about are going to be, like we said, how do the Lakers match up with the Warriors defensively? And then how do the Warriors match up with the Lakers physicality, whether on offense or defense? I think that the threat of the Warriors playing small is not necessarily a thing that we should be too concerned about. Of course, it's gonna be a problem if like AD's incapacitated in some way. But I do think that we can finally see a little bit more of that 3-guard lineup with Dennis, D'Lo, and Austin that we saw in the regular season. That was kind of cooking fellas. I don't remember what their net rating was, but it was kind of spectacular. But that was a lot of that. Probably most of that was before LeBron came back. So whether or not Dennis might be the first sub in if LeBron goes out, usually like he does first, or if they decide that Vando might not be for certain minutes in the game, and you're either deciding whether or not you can play Dennis with those guys, or if you want to try a Winion or something like that, or a Troy Brown Jr. or whoever the case may be. I do think that we can get a lot of utility out of that 3-guard lineup that has been playing well. But what was I about to say? 3-guard lineup, LeBron. I don't remember. I just keep hearing my jaw in my ear. It's kind of distracting me. D'Lo's the key. Is if he can outplay Clay, we good. Yeah, I think that is going to be a better offensive series for D'Lo for sure. Not that his last series was bad, despite what people thought. Like he put up nearly 17 and 5 on 43-37. Like, people look at shooting percentages, particularly from a guy who's shooting half of his shots from three. I think he's shooting 14 shots a game in the first series, and like almost 7.5 of those were threes. Like, unless he's making a lot of his threes, like, his percentages aren't going to look like super great, like, because he's shooting a majority of his shots from the 3-point line, and that's just a lower percentage shot. I think he shot over 50% from 2-point range in the series last series. Maybe not. Maybe game 2 kind of skewed those numbers, but like, I think that the Warriors are definitely less physical than the Grizzlies for sure, and they don't have as much rim protection. Of course, Draymond can do what he does in the paint and stuff like that, but I think just from a pure verticality standpoint, I don't think that they're going to be able to kind of give him problems in the way that Memphis was with JJJ. And so I think that he's going to have a particularly good series. Well, I'm going to say particularly. I think he's going to have a good series, probably a little better than he had last series, even though I thought he was instrumental in the Lakers advancing in games 4 and 6 specifically. He had a good game 1. I think he was instrumental in that game as well. Then game 3 was kind of a, you know what I'm saying, they beat down City. So like, and he was kind of instrumental in that early good start they had. So I think that he will be able to play well. If he outplays Clay, who knows? Clay is prone to do Clay things for good or bad. So game 6, Clay might show up game 1, even though he wasn't that great in the last game 6 they played, and just give them the blues, and it kind of recalibrates how they consider certain things. I do think that's going to be important, that the Lakers do not overreact to, and I don't think they have so far have shown themselves to be that kind of reactionary team where they overreact to something that happens like in the first couple games of the series. Like, I remember we were in here talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. in the first game having like 30 some odd points, and people were asking like, oh, what should the Lakers do about him and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there like, I'm just stay the course, because like, that's going to happen, but I don't think that it's going to be a problem going forward. And it really wasn't. Like, he never really came close to matching that output over the rest of the series. So just not being overreactionary to a potential Clay shootout, or like a Jordan Poole like explosion. Of course, Steph is going to do what he does, but just staying locked into the game plan. I think that LeBron having a lot of playoff experience against these guys is going to be important. I think that D'Lo actually playing on the Warriors for a couple months is going to give him some insight to the way they operate and stuff like that. And then AD is just a generational hoopsman on the defensive end. Not enough people was giving him credit for what he was doing in that series, because people just watch basketball and they just watch the field goal column and they're like, oh, this person's not playing well because they're shooting 5 for 13. Like, bro, like, if you didn't understand the impact that AD was having in that series, like, I don't want to hear you talk about shooting hoops too often. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say you should never do it. You know what I'm saying? You do what you love, you know, but just don't come around me talking about, oh, AD out here playing soft and all this. I'm like, bro, you definitely not seeing what's going on that other end of the floor. You're not seeing what's going on those boards and all this other stuff. And I think that we're gonna get some real hoopsman activities from AD in this series, even though Draymond guards him kind of well, because he knows a lot of the tricks of the trade to guard people and how you can quote unquote foul people without really fouling them, doing the work early, pushing them on the catch. getting a little handsy on the lower parts of people's bodies and stuff like that, disrupting the hip placement and how people can set their feet and just like a multitude of things that he does. But I think that this series, if no other series, should be a heavy Austin and D'Lo and Dennis to a lesser extent initiation series, because if I'm the Lakers and I want to get my offense like really going, like we kind of saw it in Game 6. And this is not even a D'Lo thing, as more of it is like a LeBron James thing. I need LeBron to just be off ball as a screener and play finisher guy, as opposed to, of course, he's one of the most generational perimeter passer driver people we've ever seen. But I do think that they're gonna want to guard him with probably Draymond at least some like, and I think that the things that can happen in a 3-on-2 or 4-on-3 in a LeBron James situation kind of has to engage Draymond in different ways, as opposed to like us trying to have him battle in the post with AD and or having him guarding LeBron somewhat on the perimeter in the in-between area where he'll kind of give him a jumper and stuff like that. I think that engaging Draymond defensively in a multitude of ways is going to be the key to kind of like neutralizing what he does, because even though Draymond is like so individually great as a defender, a lot of his value is like his ability to muck up other things. Like he's not just guarding his guy, he's guarding the the screen that's going on over there. He's got an eye on that, and he always rotates a little earlier than supposed to, like most of the time. Like he's seeing everything, he's on top of everything. So you kind of have to put him in actions where your two best players aren't necessarily both in the action at the same time. So whether that's a screen and roll with D'Lo and LeBron, and then AD somewhere lurking around the dunker spot, or on the side doing some down screen action and stuff like that. I think we have to see a lot of that kind of stuff, as opposed to the stuff we saw mid series where it was just we're spamming AD mismatch post up switches and stuff like that, and allowing them to get 2 or 3 nagging people around him, or LeBron dancing around the perimeter for 18 seconds and then either firing up one of the silliest looking threes you ever seen, or he's swinging it to Vando under the paint because nobody's guarding him for the wildest layup you ever seen, if he even catches the ball. Like, there's a lot of things to consider. I did not mean to burp into the bike. I tried to move it, but it kind of got caught in the crossfire. It looked like I was dabbing a little bit. I don't know when the dab stopped being a thing. They need to bring it back. It was one of the few dances I could still kind of physically, just hit them one time. But as everything has been, I don't want to say bastardized, but I'm part of the streaming world, so I can't even say it. I'm not a streamer, but people, it's just wild how like the streaming, I don't know how we got to this point, but like the way like streamers talk and stuff is like the way that me and the homies used to talk like in the mid 2000s. Like, language is so funny, the things that like kind of come around, and like you hear like people saying cap and like keeping it 100, keeping it a stack. Like, people were saying this in like 2002, bro. Like, and I'm sure way before that should be before it reached my Ohio self. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is not exactly the hub of this is a Bleacher Report talking about Draymond asking to watch LeBron's record, but this ain't like the hub of culture or anything like that. But like, bro, people like, oh, you talking like a streamer now. Like, bro, I've been talking like this for at least 15 to 20 years, bro. Like, stop playing in my face. But back to what I was saying. I don't remember what I was saying. I know I was talking about Draymond getting in a whole bunch of actions. I do think the key player in this series, if the Warriors want to avoid my Lakers in 6 fate, I think Andrew Wiggins is going to be like highly important in this series, depending on which version of him shows up. If he's a floaty perimeter Wiggins, I think they're going to have a bad time. Unless his 3 is falling, then that might be a different discussion. And again, this depends on who's guarding him. This is why I think if you think that D'Lo can guard Wiggins, you start him off on him game 1 just to check the temperature of how Andrew Wiggins is going to be playing. Because like I said, despite his handle and his general. I don't think he's particularly a great ball handler. He can get to the rim and stuff like that. But I think he does, when he's locked in, play with a level of force that might be a little too much for somebody of D'Lo's build and like strength level to like handle consistently. Of course, I don't think D'Lo is susceptible to getting hunted too crazy. We saw they kind of tried to have Ja like do some of that, and he got off a little bit. And then sometimes he didn't get off, even though the numbers might say he got some buckets and stuff like that. But one thing he's going to do is funnel you to the correct areas and stuff like that. And if you want to live with Wiggins ISOs and like him trying to beat a perimeter D'Lo or Reeves, you can go for it. But where he's really dangerous is the way he attacks the boards, particularly like if Looney is going to be on the time that Looney is always on. I think the Lakers are going to have to contend with a little more rebounding oomph than they had to in the last series, because they didn't, the other team didn't have a Clark, or they had like Tillman out there and stuff like that. But like guards crashing from the perimeter are the things that you can be susceptible to, particularly like in corner diving situations off of Steph shots from like 30 feet. There's a tendency for players to just kind of like look up at the ball and like try to see what's going on, and whether or not Steph is on super splash time, you know what I'm saying, if Wardell is in his bag. But I think that we're going to have to be extra attentive on the glass, wedging out, you know what I'm saying, boxing out. I know D'Lo particularly likes to face box out, which doesn't really work out all the time. Austin is scrappy enough. Dennis is going to get his scrap on. I think that's where Vando kind of is going to have his utility in this series, if he's going to have it. I don't know if this is a defensive Vando series if he's going to be the Wiggins guarder, which is, I think, probably the best place for him. If you're not going to put him on Steph, I don't think you can put him on Steph. But either him neutralizing Wiggins in the physicality department, and or him overtaking the game with Looney being occupied with AD and Draymond being occupied with LeBron, or vice versa. Whoever's going to be able to win that battle on the boards, like, is going to probably have great success in this series, because I think that ultimately this series is going to be a possessions series more than anything else. Of course, the skill and the physicality and stuff is going to be what it is, but whoever controls the possession game, I think, is going to have the most success in this series. And I think it's particularly important with a team like the Warriors. I remember, what was it? It was like in February. I don't remember. Whenever D'Lo cooked the Warriors the one time, like they had like a 10 to 15 point lead. And in the post game, he made a point that I think is like relevant to like this series in particular. And he was just like, we were down or whatever, but we know that a team like the Warriors is going to give you the ball. Like if you just are patient enough, they're going to turn the ball over. And that's a system. And like, you kind of have to capitalize off it in certain ways. And it's a function of the way that they play, because they always lead the league in passing and assists, like passes per game, assists, all this other stuff. It's predicated on a lot of movement and a lot of precision, and so they're prone to have mistakes and stuff like that. And the Lakers are, talented in transition. They play with a lot of force, and I think that that's going to be a key to like them kind of matching the output from the 3-point standpoint, because we saw that their half-court offense didn't look particularly great. Of course, Memphis had a lot to do with that, but I do think capitalizing in transition is going to be hugely important, or just like preventing possessions in which Steph can get a shot up, like, or Clay can get a shot up, is going to be hugely important. And I bring that back to the Vando point. On the offensive end, if we're in situations where the half-court offense isn't looking as great as it should, can he get a couple offensive rebounds, kind of reset, and kind of get us extra possessions in that way? Because although I do think that we have a talent advantage and a skill advantage outside of the top two, outside of the top one, I don't think Clay is as talented as AD in any respect. Now, he's a generational basketball player, don't get me wrong, but he's not close to AD right now. But I do think that we're probably going to be lagging behind in the 3-point game. So I do think that one, playing in the paint is going to be important. And then I think that winning the possession situation is going to be extremely vital if we want to get these fellas out of here in 6, which I think we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? I do think we're going to take one of these first 2. Well, of course, we're going to have to and chase. Well, not necessarily. You can win 4 in straight. But I don't think, like I was saying earlier, I don't think that beating a team 4 straight times, particularly the defending NBA champions, is a thing that you're going to do too often, if ever. But How long have it's been 29 minutes? I've been here for 29 minutes talking already. I can hear every word in my ears like I got a built-in echo. And I just, I'm just hearing it. This ear, particularly, this is the side of my neck. There's a muscle on your neck called the sternocleidomastoid or something like that. I don't remember how to say it, but it's all about it messes with your balance and like your proprioception, all this other stuff. And mine are always like super swollen. That's why I be down bad, super bad. Like, and it's kind of active right now. And one of the things it does is like your eustachian tubes, which is also a part of like your ears and like the way you. Like, I can't explain all this stuff. Just know that it's a little tender right now, and I'm like, it feels like I'm in a pressurized air cabin right now. Oh, but ain't nobody asking no questions, so we gonna keep rambling, I guess. I don't remember. I was talking about the possessions point. And I said, I think the Lakers going to take advantage. That's where they're going to have to take advantage of it. And then what was I talking about after that? I don't remember, man. I'm just so physically compromised right now. These are the days like when my short-term memory is like a little worse because like you be going throughout your day. And like a lot of the things when you have like chronic pain is you're trying to figure out like you're moving with intention to like not further damage your body. So a lot of the time you're just thinking about how much pain you're in and which way you should move, like in order to not like flare up certain things. So you're not like disabled the next day and stuff like that. Speaking of which, I got to take some pills. You know what I'm saying? I'm a praise all on deck. You know what I'm saying? I got a tray table right here that I keep my fan on. I still got the fan in here. You know how we do it. What was it? Aerodynamic boys in the building. We was caked up yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Basking in the victory of the Lakers victory. I was caked up on Saturday. When did they last play? They played Friday, right? I was caked up on Saturday post victory. Then Sunday I was caked up watching game 7. You know what I'm saying? Setting the tone, letting the Warriors know that I'm gonna be over here caked. Speaking of caked up, did y'all see that Jack Harlow tweet? Like, I mean, not that IG post, bro. What type of time are you on, brother? Talking about Lowry up here cheeked up with the pillow soft cheeks. Like, all right, brother. I see what type of time you on. Even though you said that some fellers down in Atlanta was on that type of time with you, and you wasn't a fan of it. I guess you like lived to see yourself become the villain. I don't I don't know what you was doing, brother, but you know what I'm saying. Live your truth, or whatever the case may be. His album came out. Some of them songs was not slapping. I say most of them was not slapping. People like, oh yeah, you getting back to it. I'm like, this sound way worse than the stuff I heard in 2019 or whenever I started listening to this dude. What are y'all talking about? There's an art to telling stories in songs, and that gang song was one of the worst examples of somebody trying to do that I've ever heard. I don't know what happened to that brother's flow. It's not nearly where it was. Maybe he just fits a certain type of beat, and like he ain't maybe the producers he used to work with, he ain't cool with them no more. I don't know, but he need to find whoever made What's Poppin'? What's that other song? Heavy Hitter. You know what I'm saying? You need to find those people and make those songs again. Because these new joints ain't it, big dog. Maybe, I don't know, he got the beard, he thinking he's some kind of sex symbol or something. I don't know, maybe he just ain't in the lab like he used to be. I don't know what it is, but he need to get back to the roots. What is this? Oh, okay. uh, what else? I don't remember. Was I still talking about the Warriors? Maybe. I don't know. Not having no questions in here, bro. This is the one man show. I see why everybody play video games. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no material. I ain't been writing my stand up yet. Women do be shopping still. That's a truth that's going to be evergreen. You know what I'm saying? They do be shopping. You feel me? We could talk about splitting rent. You know what I'm saying? Some Twitter topics. If you all go to a friend dinner, if you go to a dinner with all your friends and you only want some mozzarella sticks and the bill come out, do you split the bill? The silly things people talk about that nobody's ever going to really experience in real life unless you already know what's up with your friends and things like that. I'm meandering trying to figure out what I was talking about. This is the worst stream I've ever done. I say that every stream, but I think it's true this time. Um, I keep looking at my phone because I keep getting shadow notifications. I can see them, like my phone is it doesn't vibrate for everything, so sometimes I'll just see a light, even though my vision is terrible. I can see that phone though. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be looking down at it because my neck is in the aforementioned state that it's in. I got physical therapy tomorrow before the Lakers and Warriors game, so I can get real belligerent during the game. I'm not actually a person that's like too locked in. I kind of wanted to do like some watch along stuff. I know people use that playback thing or whatever that like you can. I've never actually like been in it because every time I try to like get into one, like the login thing, like I've like, here's my email address, send me the email, and they just never send me the email, bro. Like, so I've never like watched something live like in a watch along thing. If I did do that, it wouldn't be in this room though. I would have to do it in like my actual room. This room was like it started out like kind of being like a game room. You see the colors. We used to call this the 49ers room. I am a 49ers fan. And I got like plaques and stuff like it say 49er way up there and stuff like that. And then like it was supposed to be that. And then we realized that the internet in here was trash in like 2006 or whatever. And this was way before like Wi-Fi range extenders was the thing that I knew about. So like this room kind of just became a storage room for the longest time. And then it became like my work office and stuff like that. But I don't have cable in this room, so I would have to go in there and watch it unless you want to see some watch along on a stream or something, and me and you be in the same time zone with the 17 minutes later commentary. That's the only reason I still have live TV is for sports, because I got that FOMO of I'm out here, I'm live tweeting something that happened 6 minutes ago. Like I ain't trying to be that dude, you know what I'm saying? I don't got FOMO on nothing else but that. You know what I'm saying? People was drinking, smoking. I'm like, I ain't FOMO. What's that? I don't need none of that business. But let me see a sporting event a little too late. I start sweating a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't care that much, but that is the reason I still pay exorbitant amounts for cable. Like a true fool. Cable bill is like almost $300. It's what is it? It's $275 a month for some cable, bro. Like. Cable ain't hitting like that. And people were cutting the cord like, oh yeah, bro, cable about to be out of here. We about to get YouTube TV and Sling and all this stuff. YouTube costs like $80 a month now. Every streaming service costs like $15, bro. They have swindled us again, bro. The price of eggs is one thing, but the price of these streaming services is getting out of hand. Amazon Prime costs like $18,000, man. I ain't ordered nothing on Amazon in like 3 months. Why am I still paying this, bro? I think they give you free shipping for the most part anyway now. Bezos, they said Bezos is doing he's doing medical stuff now, but they like you give away your HIPAA rights. So like he just gonna be out here just telling everybody about that toenail that you got that's a little wonky, you know what I'm saying? So just be locked in for all of this new age business post COVID that they're gonna be hitting us over the head with the prices. No, I still ain't got my loans forgiven, but all the money is going up. Inflation is still crazy. Wages is still stagnant. We need to, no, we ain't going to start a revolution on this here podcast, even though I did talk about that in that one video I made. I need to make another one of those videos with like a super life update. Because, boy, I've been through the ringer. Not the basketball ringer, which is the worst, one of the worst sporting sites of any repute this side of Barstool, even though it's a Barstool adjacent situation. Like, let's just call it what it is. What is the deal? Why has Boston and like the greater like New England area had the hold on sports for so long? Like even ESPN is like in Connecticut. Like who decided this? Like I'm sure those are markets or whatever, but how did they become the hub of decision making and the tastemakers of sports talk? That's why we've got so many people now that can't talk sports because they listening to these dudes who don't have any diversity of thought or diversity of population. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's be serious. Let's lock in and really change the way these sports are being covered and the way these people are being talked to. What is that? Oh, I'm not doing that. But nobody answering questions. So this is what I said answer. Nobody's asking questions. So this is what we got for now. You know what I'm saying? We was about to go into a little Marxist territory. You feel me? I ain't read too much Karl Marx. I don't do too much reading anymore at all. One, because I'm blind, and my neck is messed up. And two is that I just read too much in law school, bro. Once law school hit and I was reading like 300 pages a night just to make sure I wasn't getting caught slipping when I got cold called on, bro. Reading just ain't my thing no more. I read things on the internet, but I'm talking about like actual books. The last time I read an actual book was like, I think I read what's that book? What's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I think that's the last book I read. It was either that or Curious Incident of Dog in the Nighttime. And Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime was a fire book, but it also was wildly confusing, and not because of the way the book was structured, right? So the Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime is this book about this autistic boy who he has like this dog, or his neighbor has a dog. I can't remember who the dog was, but he lived with his parents, and I think they were divorcing or divorced. And one day he finds that this dog has been murdered, and he's kind of like trying to figure out like what's going down, like who killed this dog, right? But like every other chapter, like he was a big fan of like prime numbers and all these other things. So first of all, every chapter is like prime numbers. So it like went from chapter 1 to chapter 3 and all this other stuff. But the other thing was like one chapter they talking about the story. The other chapter, he talking about whatever he want to talk about, because it's time to get, you know what I'm saying, his spectrum vibes on, you know what I'm saying, respect, you know what I'm saying, he big smart. But the one thing that was confusing me was it was this person in this book, and their name was spelled Siobhan, right? And this is why way before I heard somebody say Siobhan out loud, bro. So like I'm reading this book and like it's already scattered all over the place. But the one thing I could not focus on was what was this person's name. And was in like 2006. So like I wasn't about to Google that. I don't even think I was using Google back then. I think I was using Ask Jeeves in 2006. I think it was called ask.com at that point. But I'm like, who is this Siobhan person that he keeps talking to? Like, forget who killed the dog. If you want to read it, I ain't gonna spoil it, but I'm about to spoil it. I think his dad killed the dog, if I remember correctly, because like he was having an affair with some lady or something. Whatever. Siobhan was confusing me. Is the point of this story, and that's one of the last books I read. So, you know what I'm saying? All through college, I read some things, but I became like an audiobook guy. But like the last like fiction book I read that was just like for fun was like around that time. So maybe I need to get back in my reading bag. I've done a couple audiobooks, Parable of the Soul or things like that, but that was for school too. Like I say that to say I am a well-read individual, but I haven't been reading well in a long time. You feel me? Keratoconus is a thing that has done things to my life, you know, and then law school on top of that just made me become a guy who just be out here watching hoops. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I read these days is like anime and K-drama subtitles, baby. You know what I'm saying? And regular show subtitles too, because people will be like, why are you watching shows with subtitles? And I'm like, listen, bro, have you heard the audio quality of TV these days? Like, I can't hear nothing nobody is saying. And you asking me why I'm watching subtitles, but I do get in the mode where I'm like looking at the subtitles instead of the screen, and that's like a problem, and I need to like fix that. But like until then, we just gonna be reading, baby. Trying to get my homies to watch Dark. They still not listening. If you in here, watch Dark. Real cinema, real TV, real thespianism on display, real confusion on display, real timey-wimey, real quantum theory. You know what I'm saying? Real grandfather's paradoxes, real bootstrap paradoxes, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to grad school. Yeah, shout out to grad school. I don't know. I can't give it a 1-to-1 to law school, because I've seen people in grad school, but I don't know how deep they really get. I know a lot of papers is being wrote and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure it's just as bad of a grind. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how 1-to-1 they are, but I know that they both unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Let's get practical, baby. What I'm in here writing theses is for. You know what I'm saying? Even though if there's one thing I can do is write me a paper. So I ain't even saying that it's bad. I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna be grad schooling, let's get some practicalities popping. I'm saying way more work experience, not comparative analysis of two works. I had a tweet about comparative analysis the other day. People weren't rocking with it like I thought they was. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a fire tweet. You know what I'm saying? I'm finding the West comparative analysis of Buster Scruggs and Ja Morant. Like, that's fire, bro. Because people, Ja said he was good in the West whole time. he was talking about toting them things. He wasn't talking about playing basketball. He was talking about like if he go out in them saloon doors and somebody say it's old rodeo showdown time, he said he ready for that. He wasn't ready for no he wasn't ready for no basketball though. You know what I'm saying? And nobody that can't shoot. I said no, nobody that can shoot. Somebody that can't shoot off the dribble and that is 6'2" and is prone to getting hurt every time ain't gonna be fine in nobody's West. He ain't gonna be fine in nobody's East probably. You know what I'm saying? Never trust a team that has a big that can't protect the rim or a primary ball handler that can't shoot that's under the size of 6'8". Those are rules to live by. Those are Anthony's shooting hoop Noah rules, like entry level. If you want to know anything at all, a team that got Sabonis protecting the paint, team that got Ja Morant being the primary ball handler with no other ancillary shooters around and nothing like that, you might as well go ahead and just chalk them up to a semifinals or less. You know what I'm saying? That's just my personal opinion, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just one man's basketball opinion. Which is why I once again think the Lakers are gonna probably go to the finals, you know, just based off the various ways they can beat you. The team and roster construction, they have a multitude of things that fit well together on both sides of the ball. A lot of high IQ guys, a lot of high skill guys. And those are the things you need, you know. You need a big forward that can drive and kick, shoot reputably, get to the rim, get fouled. We have that in LeBron James. Great rim protection, perimeter defense as well. Anthony Davis is a whole defense unto himself, and that's before we get to Vando, and that's before we get to Dennis, and that's before we get to the other ancillary role players, not named Beasley. Beasley, my dog. I knew we was in for a long haul in not long haul. What's the word, like a shooting hoop I can't figure out how to word this, but the point is, first year that D'Lo and Beasley played together, D'Lo was giving Beasley the time of his life, feeding him all kind of stuff. And then Timberwolves fans somehow thought that meant like that Malik Beasley was a number one option in the clutch. Writing threads about why is D'Lo shooting these shots? We got Beasley on the floor. I'm like, bro, it's some hoop deficit going on in the knowledge department because this is a wild thing. Have you watched Beasley dribble? But yeah, maybe I missed it. Who do you want D'Lo defending and who you think is experienced? Yeah, I talked about that. Jerry will call him DAR. Jerry, Ben, stop it. DAR is not a nickname. It's a bad initialism. I don't even know if that's an initialism. I think initialisms is the ones that make, or initialisms the words that, no, what's the other one? The ones that initials make words is something else. And then an initialism is DAR, I think. I can't remember. But booty nickname, nobody calls him that except people on Twitter, and I think y'all the only like 2 of 7 people that call him that. It don't look fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, step your game up. Y'all was calling Vando, Vandy. Like, come on, bro. Like, just listen to me. I'll take you to the promised land as far as nicknames and stuff go. But to Mike, and that's Mike Garcia. I told y'all to follow him, Canyon Driver, on Twitter. If you want to know what real hoopers be doing before they get to the NBA, he locked in. You know what I'm saying? He might give you a primer in words, or he might just throw some tweets off. But if he say something, just lock in. If you need a carburetor fix, he might can do that too. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to be a Formula One future participant, maybe he got something for that too. I don't know. The man of many talents, Mike Garcia. But I did say earlier in the stream that I do think that he should guard Clay, particularly because I think that like I was saying, that's the archetype that he guards best. Like taller, like wings who aren't particularly shifty off the dribble, who aren't particularly physical in the paint and like in the post and stuff like that. I think that he can navigate screens well enough, and I think his length can bother Clay in ways that people might not expect. He's been good as an off-ball chaser pretty much the entire season since he's been doing that, and I think that him, like I said, he knows the Warriors system to an extent. And I do think that that's going to give them some advantages as opposed to like him being on a Wiggins. If Wiggins decides to get active off ball and in the paint and like crashing the board and stuff like that, I think it's going to be a little more of a problem for him to kind of contend with on a consistent basis. But I did also say that I think that him and Austin, if Austin is not on Steph, can like alternate those matchups and stuff like that. And I said that if like people's idea that he might be on Wiggins in game 1, he might be on Wiggins, like maybe you test it out in game 1. See what type of time Wiggins is on from a physicality standpoint and then go from there. But I do think his best matchup is gonna be Clay. I do think that like even though like Steph causes people problems, I think that if Steph is in the off ball chasing thing, like I think D'Lo can guard him for stretches. I'm like they had him guarding Ja for a while, like, and I'm not saying they're comparative or anything like that, but I do think that D'Lo has a certain level of attentiveness and craftiness and stuff like that that will he can survive minutes on various players within this series. But I do think the best matchup to have him on is on Clay, provided that you want to put LeBron on Draymond or Looney and AD guard the other one so they can kind of play that center field role. Um, but either him or Wiggins, but I think that Clay would be the best option. Do you think that the Warriors would put Andrew Wiggins on LeBron or D'Lo because LeBron is mostly playing on ball? Uh, I don't know. Because like for all of the things that people say about D'Lo and stuff like that, coaches game plan for him all the time because they know how important he is to like, particularly if he gets going offensively. He's not a guy who's going to, like we saw in the last game he played, he's not a guy who's just going to continually chuck up shots. I tweeted about this. I said, when D'Lo cooks, everybody cooks, because when he's playing well and he's maximizing his offensive aggressiveness, he's still going to make the right play like 8 times out of 10. He's going to make the right pass and stuff like that. And so like his rhythm is very important to the overall team as opposed to somebody who's getting their own and not like staying within the framework of what everybody else is doing. So I do think that I was talking about this earlier. LeBron being off ball is going to be like key. I think they should really activate him as a screener in this series if they haven't like considered it. Like we saw that a lot of the good stretches, particularly like I think Game 6 was the blueprint as to how they should play. Of course, they're not going to have like Ja guarding D'Lo at the point of attack, like which I don't know what they decided at halftime in Game 5 or whenever they was like, all right, we're going to put Ja at the point of attack in these matchups. But like D'Lo saw that and it was just Cook City after that. I don't know what they were thinking, but if I were the Warriors, I would probably put Wiggins on LeBron personally. But if he's off ball, then that's a different discussion. But I don't think that they've gotten to the point where they're comfortable having LeBron off ball all the time yet. I don't know if that's true or not. But if LeBron is off ball, then I think you put him on. I think you put Wiggins on D'Lo, particularly because I think LeBron is going to be getting in some of those actions with D'Lo handling the ball, and then you can do whatever type of switching you need to do and things like that. But if it's just a one-to-one, like you kind of want to take D'Lo out of the game, I think Wiggins can like be a facsimile of like what Brooks kind of would have been if there were lesser like talented people on the roster. I think he has athleticism to give like D'Lo problems and stuff like that, and I think he can deny him the ball, which is how you most effectively get D'Lo out of the series. And I do think that overall his importance is going to be coming off ball, on the ball, and like causing some of the switching and stuff like that is going to be necessary to kind of exploit the gaps in Golden State's defense, provided given that they don't have a lot of rim protection and stuff like that. But I personally would put him on D'Lo, but that's from my brain, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they're going to put him on LeBron because just the marquee matchup of it all, and like who else is going to guard LeBron besides like Draymond in that lineup. So like I think that if Wiggins is on D'Lo, it can kind of mitigate some of the switch hunting that LeBron might do in to like mess up their defense, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? Billy Mack going to basketball hell for calling Vando Vandy. Yeah, bro, I don't know. Billy Mack is his own guy. You know what I'm saying? He a big jack in the box, good times type of fella. He going with the flow. I'm sure Vando has said this out loud, like call him Vando. It sounds cooler. It's weird because he calls him Vandy and then he calls him the Vandalorian, like which the Vandalorian got, you know what I'm saying? Vandal pretty much right there, even though, you know, whatever. Maybe he wants to do it to like, because I think Stu calls him Vandy a lot and he don't want to like step on Stu's toes as the oldest man in the business or whatever, him and Hubie Brown, you know what I'm saying, getting up there. But yeah, I don't know why he does that. I agree with D'Lo on Steph for a few possessions too. No one's going to defend. Right. I do think that the Steph thing is just going to be a committee thing. Like I do think that Dennis is probably going to make the most hay. I do want to see what Troy Brown Jr. has over the course of a game. Because although I don't know if he's ever going to find his shot because I think it's more of a nerves thing than anything else at this point. And I'm we not trying no Beasley. Just his general inattentiveness is something that I don't even want to find out whether or not he's locked in or not. Um, but I do think that Troy can give us some good minutes. I think Dennis can give him some good minutes, and like I think D'Lo can survive some minutes for sure. Because if we just expect Austin to take this, if it's even Austin, because like it could be Vando. Maybe Vando has some success. I don't see him being able to follow somebody that's shifty as Steph, particularly not even like stand with him off of screens and like going through screens, which I think is going to be its own issue. But like just him having to guard Steph out on the perimeter. Although Vando can like switch his hips and stuff like that and kind of get into a sprint or get into a slide in certain respects, he's still a little bit upright as a guy, like as a defender. So I think that Steph would be able to exploit some of his movement patterns that he has trouble with. So I don't think you want to put him on him for any extended period of time. I do think that if Reeves is the guy, he's going to have a little less of an issue, which sounds weird to say, but like once they started like curling Bane off of screens and stuff like that, I think that Austin really had a bad time kind of trying to get back into play due to how strong Bane is, and also how he had a little bit of a sneakier athletic pop, like going to the rim off of those situations where he could kind of go at AD and stuff like that in some like layup situation, stuff like that. I don't think Steph is going to cause problems in that way. Of course, he's going to cause separation in other ways that are going to be problematic. But I think that if Austin stays a little more disciplined, I don't think he's going to be like knocked off of his center like he was in the last series, and that might be beneficial. And then we have to think about the other end of the basketball, the other end of the floor, where he was getting more reps as an on-ball guy. I don't know if this is going to be a series for Austin in the creation streets like it was last series, just for sheer like being a little tired from chasing Steph around everywhere. But that's the cat and mouse interesting stuff that we have to deal with over the course of this series. But I do think they're gonna I do think that Steph is probably gonna cook, and then we just kind of have to win the game on the margins elsewhere. And I do think that we're well equipped to kind of stop other guys from like going off if Steph has it going as well. If this isn't a Vando series, would you prefer Rui, TBJ, or Dennis to start first? I still think you start with Vando. I was talking about this. I don't know if you were in here for this. I do think that this is the series, if any of them, to see what that 3-guard lineup of Dennis, Austin, and D'Lo has. Like they were giving people the blues, but once LeBron kind of came back, that kind of went to the wayside. I do think we can kind of see what they have. I think Rui is going to be, I forgot to talk about Rui. I think Rui is going to be extremely important in this series, just from a physicality standpoint, because like, I don't think they have anybody, that can match him outside of the starting lineup. So I think, bench minutes, particularly like if Draymond's not on the floor and stuff like that, I don't see who's going to be able to match up with him from a physicality standpoint or an athleticism standpoint, or just like a skill standpoint. Like, I don't think they have anything equivalent to him, like on the roster. I think like Wiggins would be the closest guy, but I'm talking about guys like, people talk about Kuminga and stuff. I don't think Kuminga is a particularly good basketball player at this point in his career. A lot of people were talking about like, oh, the Warriors got Kuminga and all of them. Like, bro, who do y'all think Kuminga is, bro? Like, he's not particularly attentive on the defensive end. A lot of his points are catch and finish type of things. He's not really a great creator. His shot takes forever to load up. He's holding and follow through. Like, he does a lot of things that like I don't think he's necessarily a good basketball player at this point. Now, he could prove me wrong and just start hooping crazy, and then I'm looking crazy for saying what I just said. But like, I think that would be the guy, if they give him minutes, that could like match him athletically, and maybe they will do that. But if they don't, I think Rui is going to have a similar impact that he had last series, even though he kind of tapered off towards the end. But I think that he's going to be vitally important as like the guy that puts us over the hump in certain games that might not be all the way in our favor from the top level of our talent and our roster standpoint. If he's continuing to hit open shots and he's becoming more active on the glass and things like that, like he has been, I don't think you change the starting lineup in any significant way. I think if Vando just doesn't have it, you just go to the subs earlier. But I do think that, like I said earlier, I think Vando can have an impact on the boards and defensively and stuff like that, particularly in this series, which I think is going to be a series largely dependent on who wins the possession battle. So that's my thoughts on that. Appreciate y'all for asking a couple questions because I was in here floundering big time. Not necessarily floundering because I'm still, you know what I'm saying? I can still sell salt to a slug, baby. No, but I was struggling because I just be showing up. I don't be preparing for nothing. I just be like, all right, I'm about to stream. That's why the sound used to sound so trash because I would fix the sound and then the mic would unplug itself. Let me make sure it's plugged up now while I'm talking. Because one thing about the stream watcher homies, they gonna be like, oh bro, your mic sounding trash, because they like, oh, it sounds good. And the whole time I be talking to the camera microphone and they're like, yeah, you sound pretty all right. I'm like, I run it back. I'm like, I can't even use this no more. I think I used the stream clip earlier. I need to find a clip. I was talking about they had that ranking D-Lo 125th that they recycled like 17 times, and I was talking about how somebody, I don't remember who asked me the question in here, was like, who's your top 5 funniest players in the NBA? But I thought they were talking about top 5 comedians in general, and I gave them a whole list. And then I named like 10 people in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna find that and put that on Twitter at some point because I do think the mic was good for that particular one. Who is this? Let me see. I ain't about to tweet. I'm about to message real quick. They saying, all right. Message sent. I've been streaming for about an hour. Let's see what time it is. It's 9 o'clock. Do I got anything else? I don't know. I think Rui and Dennis are going to be the quote unquote X factors. I think Dennis should have a bounce back series offensively, if nothing else, just because I don't think the Warriors have a lot of rim protection and or guys who can really stop him on the perimeter. Maybe Gary Payton Jr. doesn't strike me as a guy who's really been in his lockdown bag. I don't think Dante is really about that life like that, to stay in front of him like that. And when he gets to the rim, there's nobody there really throwing shots to the moon. Of course, we always have to worry about Dennis's decision making just in general. Dennis is either the most trustworthy man in the business, or he's the most untrustworthy man in the business. And rarely is he anywhere in the middle. Like, he's either giving you elite hoops or he's giving you some of the worst hoops you've ever seen. I do think we'll trend more towards the positive side of things in this series, just because I think it's a much better matchup for him. And like I said everything I needed to say about Rui, and all of these things in conjunction with just, I think our top 2 talent, our top 4 talent is better than the guys on the other side. That's why I think it's going to be Lakers in 6. You know what I'm saying? Do I think they win game 1? I'm not entirely sure, because although the Warriors just went through a dogfight, sometimes this Laker team, their shooting numbers are kind of trash when they got a little more rest. I don't know I can't remember who talked about it like being a rhythm thing, like, but the team has been better offensively recently when they've had less time to like rest, and like, I don't know what the whole thing with that is. I don't know if they forget how to shoot or the tempo of the game just catches them by surprise in game 1 or whatever. But if there is a game to steal, I think it will be game 1. I don't have any predictions on how it's going to happen or anything like that. But I do think that the Lakers have advantages in pretty much any series that they're in, because I think that what they do travels well, which is defense and then transition. And then they just have, when those things aren't necessarily traveling as well as they should, they have enough top end talent to kind of push them over the line. And then their mid-tier talent can be top end talent for games at a time, as we saw, whether it be D'Lo or Reeves or even Rui to a lesser extent. Is there anything else though? All I remember about Gary Trent Jr. when he was holding LeBron's shorts in a matchup, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. I remember his dad had a mean fur on at the Timberwolves game. Gary Trent Jr. is hilarious because, like, when he was with Portland, I was just certain that he was going to give you 2 air balls a game, and he was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Then he just became a guy who could shoot a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? He locked in a little bit, went to Toronto. Then he's another guy who gives you the Dennis vibes. It's like either he's the greatest shooter of all time, or it's like, why is this guy on the floor? I think he would be useful on the Lakers. I'm not saying like he's a bad player or anything, but he has moments where he's just like he's either or, and the in between is kind of what you're looking for, and like sometimes it's like but I don't watch the Raptors as much as most people do. Well, I ain't gonna say most people, but I don't watch the Raptors that often. But like the last I saw, they wasn't digging his vibes over the last 20 games of the season or so, 15 of them, whatever. I do want to know what the mysterious Fred Vliet love is. Uh, like of course his net rating is what it is, and like he's valuable as a player, but like as a lead ball handler and initiator, I see a lot of people praising his IQ and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, have y'all watched him play basketball? He takes some of the worst shots I've ever seen. Like people look at his shooting percentages like, oh, he shoots a lot of threes and all this stuff. It's like his shooting percentages look like that because he shoots awful shots a lot of the time. Like I'm not saying he's not a good basketball player, but like some of the people y'all say he's better than, it's like, are you sure? Have you watched him play basketball? Like, yeah. He's an okay passer. He can penetrate some. He shoots the worst shots I've ever seen. He's not a particularly good shooter. I think a lot of people were kind of fooled by that. People forgot that Toronto had an extended like bubble season. Like the season he was an all-star was a glorified bubble season, bro. Like y'all ascribing characteristics to this gentleman that I don't think he quite possesses in the multitude of ways that you think he does. But you know what I'm saying? I ain't here to hate on nobody. I'm just saying. I just thought about it. You know what I'm saying? Scotty Barnes had a rough second season. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch them enough to like know. Like I think his clutch numbers were good and stuff like that. But I think like the way he was being used, I think they pivoted to the on ball Scotty a little too early. I think he's still in the play finisher like era of his arc. You know what I'm saying? I think they gave him a little too much a little too soon, and we kind of saw the resulting struggles of that. Do you think Trae Young is a better shot selection? I think Trae Young is weird because I think his shot selection is largely a function of his physical like capabilities. Like if you look at his numbers over the years, like he's like better at shooting threes from like further away, and I think that's just because like he's kind of a small guy, like, and he's a little more able to be bothered if he's not getting free off of screens and stuff like that. And I don't think he hasn't shown himself to be a particularly good movement shooter or a super willing one. Like he does it in stretches or whatever. Like I'm not saying he's incapable, but like I think his shot selection is a function of that their team was just awful. They didn't run anything particularly great. He's an offense unto himself. It's not an offense that I would like rely on to like take me anywhere. Like I said before, I thought that Eastern Conference Finals run was a little fluky, and it's proven to be that. I also said that I didn't think him and DeJounte were going to be that great together in their first season, at least. Particularly not trading no 3 first-round picks for DeJounte or whatever they did. Like people were talking about the Rudy Gobert trade, and I'm sitting here like, did y'all see the DeJounte Murray trade? Like that was probably worse. Like this is before all the turmoil stuff happened in Minnesota, but I was looking at that trade like, are y'all sure that this is a good trade? Like but I wasn't one of the people who thought that DeJounte was at the level that people thought he was last year. I thought he was a usage merchant. Like I was going through his film, like he's not a particularly good passer if you're in a primary initiator way. He can pass to a roll man in the pick and roll, and he can like do a driving kick or whatever, but he wasn't making any passes that were compromising the defense in any particular way that made me go like, oh yeah, this guy's got the stuff. Like no, like he was getting a lot of usage and he put up a lot of numbers. He had the ball more than LeBron, I think, that season. Like he was just doing a lot of like he was a volume guy over a guy who was impacting the game at that level that you trading 3 first-round picks for the right to like give him a max, or was it 2 first-round picks? I don't remember how much it was, but the haul that he got was a little too much for my blood if I'm running the team. But I think that Trae is going to benefit from a season under Quinn, but I think his shot selection is going to be what it is at this point, and I don't think it's a problem most of the time. It's just when he looks awful, he's going to look awful, and it's just going to be what it is. But like as a barely 6 foot guy in this league with a lot of offensive responsibility, that's just the thing that's going to happen. A lot of people like to just harp on things that players don't do, particularly like high level ball handler guys who are, if you're a guy who has that much usage and stuff, you're gonna do something wild like 3 times a game. It's just the ebb and flow of a basketball game. Like you're gonna take a shot that somebody thinks is particularly crazy, or you're gonna throw a pass that somebody thinks is awful. You're gonna mishandle the ball. That's just what happens as a like high level guy. People like want mistake free basketball, and that's not how basketball is played. That's why they love like 3-and-D like wing guys who can't dribble and stuff like that, because they don't make a lot of mistakes because they aren't given the opportunity to do so, because they can't handle the other things that come with it. And then you just see like, oh, his metrics are so great and he plays solid. It's like, yeah, bro, because he doesn't have to do anything that pushes the boundaries of your offense. He just has to do a job that's based off of what this other guy's doing. Like, so Trey's shot selection is what it is. I just don't like his merchant activities, but I think he's like a great basketball player. Not one I necessarily enjoy watching too much, or somebody that I would like be super confident in leading my team to like anywhere substantial. But like as a guy who can survive a regular season and get you to the dance, I think not the dance, but the playoffs, he's shown that he can do it multiple times. And sometimes that's all you can really ask for. Not everybody's going to be that guy. Like, and it's just going to come with a couple wild shots here and there and a couple like, what are you doing? His defense is going to be terrible just because he physically can't play defense in the NBA. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't know why this was such a long diatribe about Trae Young and the Hawks in general, but those are my opinions on it. DeAndre Hunter has not been hooping. I don't know what's going on with that brother. He was getting busy in the playoffs a couple times. I'm like, oh, he might got something. Then he just came back and was like, he's been hurt a lot, so maybe that's part of it. But like, I don't know. I fell off the AJ Griffin wagon, not necessarily like fell off like I don't believe in him anymore. I just stopped paying attention to what he was doing. Like, so I got to lock back in and see if he was hooping. Who was the other guy? What's that? Jalen Johnson, whatever that the tall Afro fella is. I got to lock into him. I'm a Kongu fan. So, like, I think they building a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, everything else is to be determined. TBD, baby. Oh, I'm looking for my mouse again. I got the computer. It's this one. But it's been 71 minutes. I think that's pretty solid if nobody got any other questions. I'm going to go recalibrate my ears because I feel very weird right now. I'm still getting mad jaw clicking, you know what I'm saying? I could still, you know what I'm saying? Got to do this a couple 100 times. I'm about to do another chest rotation, little core rotation. Feet parallel going forward. Then you got to keep your hips, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to act like you're putting the seatbelt on, kind of twist. Ooh, my neck just popped. But that's just one of the things I do, you know what I'm saying? Little ooh, my chest. I needed that to actually happen. That hurt, but I needed that chest to kind of unlock itself. Hold on, let me see. Lats is feeling a little better. I don't know. This might have to turn into the AMP yoga hour in here. A lot of the stuff we were doing is disconnecting my neck from the rest of my body because my neck has kind of been bearing the brunt of my movement patterns for like the better part of 5 years now. And it's why I have a lot of tension in my neck and stuff like that. So we're just working on getting my body moving in positive ways that don't bring my neck into it. Cause like I lead with my neck when I do a lot of things just because of the way I've trained myself to move over the years. And it's kind of resulted in this mess of a man you see now. this useless husk of an individual that can't even get a hug without his whole body recoiling in pain. Like we living a rough life, baby. But I wasn't a hug guy anyway, so I ain't really tripping. But sometimes when somebody lightly runs into me, dog, I be down horrible. You know what I'm saying? I still might win a fight, but I'm going to the hospital right after I get that W. Just know that. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So don't think that this is like an invitation to come test me, because I still will put the people's elbow on you. I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm saying? I've been known to how is Jalen Brunson effective as he is considering his height? One, I think he's extremely strong. Like he's compactly built and he's deceptively like quick and stuff like that. But the main thing that he has is precision in his footwork and in his ability to put the ball up at the rim from a multitude of angles and things like that. I think his footwork is what really like sets him apart in terms of like being able to create shots for himself, because like his handle is decent, but it's not like he ain't Kyrie levels of handle. But like the one thing that he was doing in Dallas really well was like he was able to attack closeouts and stuff like that, particularly off of Luka creation and stuff like that. He was able to get the ball up on the glass and, you know what I'm saying, get buckets that way. And his footwork is just a major part of him being able to create advantages for himself on the floor. And then he's able to dislodge people in certain ways because he has a low center of gravity. So like bigger guys don't really bother him as much because he can get into like that little hip area and kind of push them away and like get his shot up. And like I said, he's very precise off the glass, and like his touch is really good around the rim and stuff like that. And so despite him being short, it doesn't matter because he knows how to use his body to get up into you and kind of neutralize your contests around the rim. And then he's a better shooter than I gave him credit for off the dribble. I didn't think he had like enough like pace in his jump shot and stuff like that to like get it off consistently, but I was wrong about that. And he's been a better shot maker in that respect than I thought he would be, because I thought a lot of his success was because of the second side nature of his creation and stuff like that. And then on the other hand, I still don't think he's necessarily a point guard though, because like I think that his cook is like separate from like the team construct of where like he can be cooking and like the team can also be successful, but I don't think they kind of meld together in the way that you would think they did. And I think we kind of saw that in game one where he was getting his, but the rest of the offense looked bad. Of course, Julius wasn't playing and stuff like that, but like even that in the Cavs series, some of those games, like the end of game one, I think it was, where he was getting a lot of the creation at the end. It was a lot of ISO individual stuff that didn't really I didn't think it was good process, and I didn't think it was good shots. But I think individually he's extremely talented as a scorer. I think he's more of a 2 than a 1 by like the function of which he plays, but his size relegates him to being a 1. But I just think he has a lot of craft and a lot of footwork and a lot of things on the margins. Of course, his dad played in the NBA, so I'm sure that plays a lot into it as to why he's as good as he is at those things. But like I think that he has that advantage, and then he knows how to leverage his body to get to spots on the floor, and then when he gets there, he lets the skills take over. See, Mike said I nailed it. You know what I'm saying? He seen it at Villanova, so you know what I'm saying. That's just what it is. and not to say that like Brunson doesn't create like well or anything like that, but I don't think he's like a super one in that sense. I don't think he makes all of the reads that you need to make consistently, but I think a lot of that's just because he's a bucket first and he's a passer second. So like he can make the reads, but like he's not somebody I would want making the reads ultimately all the time if he was running my team. But his scoring kind of overcomes a lot of that. So do I got anything else? I forgot I spelled California like that in the bio. California. Was he the mayor for how long was Arnold the mayor of California? Like 8 years? I don't even remember what mayor terms are these days. Are you the mayor for 6 years? I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? What was it called? It wasn't called history. We had like government class in high school or middle school. I can't remember. You know what I'm saying? We learned about of course I got a law degree and all that stuff, but that don't mean I know. You know what I'm saying? I know about the branches of government and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? What they do. But other than that, like I don't know how long term limits is. I don't know how long Congress members have it as opposed to House members. Like I don't be knowing none of that stuff because I'm not running for any of that. You know what I'm saying? I just know when it's election time and I be there. I vote in local elections, which is what you should do. Even though people are like, oh, my vote doesn't matter and all this stuff. Like, man, local elections be like, around here, I think our mayor race got like 4,000 votes or something crazy. Like, and the last mayor, the one mayor, he won by like 73 votes or something. I don't remember what the recount threshold was. I think it's under 100 though. That's how few votes we get in like local elections. I'm sure like counties in California and other places are different. But like if you want to affect some change in your immediate vicinity, vote in a local election. You know what I'm saying? The general national elections, vote in those two. You know what I'm saying? If you don't believe in voting, it is what it is. But you know, I'm just saying. Schwarzenegger, oh, he was 8 years there. I think, wasn't Gary Coleman in consideration for the not consideration, but they're like, oh, Gary Coleman, Arnold Schwarzenegger's going to run I'm like, I didn't even know this was possible. I thought you had to have some level of merit as a politician to even be considered, but I guess not. But I was what, like 13 back then, like, so it is what it is. I think I'm gonna pack it up. I think my voice is kind of another thing that happens is my voice kind of starts going when my neck is in disarray. I don't know why that is a thing that happens, but it is. Now I have like acid reflux and things like that, so it might just be that. I don't know. I never made the connection, but you know what I'm saying? About to take some of these pills real quick. Y'all shouldn't see this. No. Don't worry, it's stomach acid medicine. It's omeprazole. I'm not doing anything illegal. FBI, I know you watching. I got my tape on my webcam, but I got the external webcam, so like you can still see everything. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to unplug this webcam after I'm done. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Just in case I get into some things that the NSA might not find appropriate. You know what I'm saying? Like getting caked up. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure there's some drugs in that nothing but cakes. I'm waiting for the sting operation. I think the DEA is going to be closing in soon on that establishment because there's no reason that them things taste as good as they do. And like I said, I'm not even a cake person, but the cake is hashtag moist and that frosting is hashtag delicious. And I can't, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just be eating it, even though cake is extremely bad for my stomach. But I'm gonna get off here. Y'all have a good rest of the day. FBI open up. You see it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be coming. You might be a sleeper cell agent, big dog. I don't know. But I see y'all. If not, well, the Lakers probably play at 10 o'clock, so I probably won't stream after that. But probably after game one, depending on what happens and depending on how I feel, it's gonna be after physical therapy, so I'll probably feel well enough to stream again before game two. But hopefully we get some more questions. Thank y'all for coming in and asking questions. Like I said, follow my guy Mike on Twitter at Canyon Driver. He know the hoops. And yeah, I think that's it for today. See y'all either tomorrow or Wednesday or maybe even Thursday before the game starts. I think that game starts at 8, so maybe not. But Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll probably be back. And hopefully I feel a little bit better so we can get some actual Shooty Hoops content out sooner rather than later. But I think that's all I got for y'all. All right? Have a good one. I should have got in the area where I could say have a good one before.